Come with me on a day of offshore fishing in my local waters doing what I absolutely love. I'm going to walk you through it with a voiceover, and it's going to be not only offshore sight fishing, but also spear fishing in some somewhat questionable conditions. Now, there are a ton of fish around, which is amazing because the fish weren't really biting. That just goes to show you that since they're not biting, doesn't mean they're not there.
Is that what I'm looking at?
Yep, there's a big mangrove, really big mangrove right there.
Really? All right, that's a good sign.
Just one right now.
We're starting off the day with some sight fishing for bottom fish. Now, most people think you can only catch bottom fish by fishing the bottom. That's not true at all. I can't tell you how many big giant snappers and groupers and amberjacks. I've seen so many of these big bottom fish way off the bottom. So right here we have Robin throwing some chum in the water, and I'm drifting a bait back, watching a snapper eat my bait right now. When I do this type of fishing, I fish with a serious heavy drag because even though these fish are high up in the water column, there is always a shark problem. We have so many sharks, more than ever, and they're always trying to eat the fish as we hook them. Now that's a mangrove snapper grown big offshore. Mangrove snapper only have to be, I think, 10 inches or 12 inches depending on where you catch them, but we never have to measure them because these are just big.
First mangrove of the season. Saw him swimming through the chum. Look at that guy. About a 7 pounder. I'll take it all day.
I put another bait down a few seconds later and it was instant. I drifted it back and it got hammered. Right now I'm fishing the Tsunami Salt X 6000 AT. This is a reel that puts out an insane amount of power. I've been working with Tsunami since before Salt X even existed. And this is a serious reel. The AT is a kind of like a special edition one. More about that a little bit later. But another quality mangrove. These fish would be considered by most people absolute giants, and they are nothing compared to what's going to come a little bit later in the video. I'm on a hot bite, so of course I got to get another bait in the water, and boom, 3 for 3. 3 baits, 3 fish. But I will say, it's not always like that. We fished probably 6 spots before we got to this one, and it's not a secret spot or one spot's always good. Some days they're there, some days they're not, some days they're on the bottom, some days they're up higher. You gotta fish many spots, multiple days to find where these fish like to hang out, and every now and then it aligns and it looks really easy just like this. Now, let's get in the water.
I think 2 rods doing it is probably better. So I just hopped in the water, caught those 3, actually 4 snapper really quick. 4 for 4 on snapper. 1 was a red though, so we let him go. Then the bite died. But I jumped in the water and they're still there. The snappers are still there. I didn't shoot one. We'll show you that right now. Well, that gave me the motivation to start fishing again. I tried it, didn't work. Now we're going in, we're gonna try to shoot one. Unfortunately, I only have a cannon of a spear gun. I love my spear gun I brought, but it's not necessarily my mangrove gun. But I got a feeling it'll work. We're gonna hop in the water and switch over to the mass camera.
I got in the water, loaded up my spear gun, and started swimming down to a massive school of mangrove snapper. There was the greeting squad right there, but behind him was probably well over 100 big mangrove snapper. I couldn't even pick one out. I couldn't pick one out and shoot it. Many of them were within range, but I didn't shoot one. I will shoot plenty of fish a little bit later in the video, but that's not always what it's about. It's just that moment, experiencing that moment that I know so few people get to experience, but many would appreciate, is just awesome. We're going to do some more fishing now, and to do so, I'm flipping out a live bait. We're on a different area now. I got a live bait swimming down while Robin's actually hooked up also. She hooked up on a nice cobia, and then this happened. As I was reeling in my bait, an amberjack came up, probably curious about the action going on with her cobia, and just inhaled it. So now I got an amberjack hooked up on the 8000 Salt X2. This reel has even more power than the one I was using for mangrove fishing.
I saw some bigger cobias down there though, and that's what I really want. Well, we're not snapper fishing anymore.
No way, honey. I'd have this fish right now. No, I can bring it in. I'm just saying.
Robin's got a coat. Maybe it's bigger than we thought.
No, he wouldn't have done it.
An old keeper.
I don't think he would have been an old keeper either.
There we go. I need to get it away from Robin's fish. Ooh, yeah, pull hard on him. Pull hard. Big fish. Come on. He's feisty. He's feisty. Gosh, that amberjack smoked that thing.
Good size, AJ?
Yeah. Amberjack. Oh man, that was a nice fish right there. That was a fun fight. Amberjack.
Joey gets that amberjack in quicker than I got the smaller cobia.
Amberjack.
Now it's time to shoot some stuff. I couldn't resist myself, so I had to hop back in the water, and that was the first thing I saw. Well, the big bull shark down below, but mangroves eating the chum, and these were even bigger than the last mangroves. The last mangroves were all 6 to 7 pounds. That one in particular just looked so fat and so big that I knew he had to come home with us. So I went really slow, drifted towards him, and lined up for the shot. That's the El Rolo, and that's my favorite shot to get because it lands the fish quickly and makes it so you have a really small chance of having to deal with bull sharks, which are around. Don't worry, you'll get to see some bull shark action in a minute, but first let's land this king-size mangrove snapper.
Big mangrove. Yeah.
Well, that didn't take long.
Oh, Joey's
Well, that felt good. That's a jumbo.
Yeah.
Got the
Is that your 12 pounder?
flagpole's open.
Is that your 12 pounder?
That's my 12 pounder, yeah.
Yep.
That's probably about a 12 pounder.
Yep.
All right. Let me hold him up. Here's my gun. My gun's right there.
Right in the back, yep.
That is what I needed to do because there were some sharks around. Hold a little higher. That's what I needed to do. There were some sharks around, so we needed the El Rolo shot. And I'll tell you what, that's the El Rolo shot right there. Jumbo mangroves. First fish speared on a spear gun in I don't know how long, and it felt good. Went right there through the head. Came out inside the gills on the other side. No meat messed up. That is a certified El Rolo. And even matches. Look how beautiful that is. All right, might have to hop in and try one more.
I got my spear gun loaded back up and I'm ready to make another dive. Now, if you look in the chum, you'll see there are good fish in the chum. I easily could have swam over and shot one of those, but I'm looking for something bigger. So hold your breath with me. I'm making my way down, going through the cleaner water on top to the dirtier water down deep because I want to find a bigger fish down deeper. Now, one thing that happens where I live, big schools of blue runner mean there is a bull shark really close by. But I got my eyes on the prize right there. That is the mangrove snapper's big cousin, the Cubera snapper. I lined up the shot and hit it with another El Rolo, or a version of the El Rolo, we'll call it. And that is another great shot because the sharks are around. That blue runner school means there are sharks around. So no struggle is best case scenario for me. And even with no struggle, I still had a bull shark come check it out. Now, if that Cubera had been fighting and pulling real hard, it could have been a different scenario there, a lot like the one you're going to see at the end of the video.
Just like this, right?
Yep. That was another El Rolo. Saw some bigger Cuberas. First day of the season, though, I can't be too picky. I'm very happy with that guy. There we go. Nice Cubera. There we go. Mangroves, Cuberas. Look at those champas. They got some serious teeths. There he is. That one I hit up and down through there. Luckily spined him, came out through the side of the cheek.
With a quick reload, I'm back in the water, diving down into the chum again because I see something different. I gotta keep the variety going. I see a big old starburst tail swimming around, and that means mutton snapper. Now, there are many, many different kinds of snapper. My most common snapper is a mangrove snapper. So anytime I get a chance at a Cubera or a mutton, I almost always take it. And this is a massive mutton swimming around in the chum. But I don't like the shot he's giving me. I don't like the tailing away shot at a decent distance, and I know there's sharks around. I want to get a good shot. This bull shark kept coming up higher and higher, checking me out, and he was just being pretty pesky. I was trying to swim over and give him a little poke, tell him that I don't really want him around, but he was not getting the message, so we just have to deal with that. I'm going to breathe up, try to keep my heart rate low, stay nice and calm, and make a nice long dive, try to get as close as I can to that big old mutton snapper that's still milling around in the chum. That's what we're doing right now. I'm already down. I've been holding my breath for a little while. I like to dive outside of the fish. I don't want to drop right on their head in a threatening way. I want to get down and make them think I'm there for the chum too. I'm just hanging out, checking things out, trying to close the gaps, really ignoring these beautiful mangroves that are swimming around, trying to get closer to that big mutton snapper. And he gets a little far away. It was an up and down shot, but still broadside. So I like the angle, almost like a 45-degree down, not straight down, but it's fighting, it's pulling hard. And of course, the sharks, that's going to get the sharks more fired up when a fish fights like that. Luckily, there was some distance, and I was able to get the fish close to me, and the shark backed off as I started getting it all the way up to me. Now, the type of spear I'm using has what's called a slip tip, a cable slip tip, so I can put an insane amount of pressure on these fish and rip them up as hard as I want with a great success rate. Now I'm using my dive knife. I have the sword dive knife because this fish was not killed when I shot it. So I want to kill the fish as fast as possible so there's no struggle, no commotion, and no danger to people in the boat.
Joey, I gotta hand it to you.
What a beautiful mutton.
Unbelievable.
I'm so happy about all these fish. But the only thing I really care about is that Wahoo. And you know, after I shot the Cubera, I almost said, hey, if I'm just getting requests today, because I said Cubera and I got a Cubera, I almost said, if I'm getting requests, I might as well just ask for a Wahoo. And then 5 minutes later, Wahoo swims up.
Look at that.
Look at that big old Mutton. We got some good fish today.
Dropping back down into the blue, and you saw that Wahoo. I was at the surface looking down for snappers. I looked up, and behind me, and a Wahoo was right at my fins. By the time I turned around and made any kind of move towards it, it was on its way out, nice and slow, and I sat there for 20 minutes not spearing anything, with fish swimming all around me that were really good eating fish, but I knew if I shot something, that Wahoo would come back. Fortunately, that was not the case. I never saw the Wahoo again. So I eventually made a drop down. You can see I'm in the darker, greener water now. I've been down for a little while. And there's some black backs right there. That's what I'm looking for, Mr. Cubera. This one, I was right about to pull the trigger, and luckily I didn't because he took off. He came right back, though, and gave me a great shot. I've said it before, but I will say it again and again. I love shooting the big, powerful 130, even for reef fish. That spear blew clean through that fish. It has so much power, and on an armored fish like a Cubera, it makes a big difference. Now, their faces don't have hard armor, but their skulls are hard. Luckily, on this one, I hit it right in the cheek. It blew all the way through it, but that can be a dangerous thing, too, because if a shark grabs that fish, it's going to bite right through that heavy mono, and I'm going to lose $100 and something shaft. Luckily, that wasn't the case. Grabbed the sword dive knife, hit him in the head, dispatched him, and throw him in the boat.
Oh, look at you, Joe.
How's that for some snappers? Mutton, massive mangrove, Cuberas. Golly, look at those things.
Don't lose any of those. Oh my god.
That is some quality snappers right there. All right, straightening stuff up. Could you imagine if I got that Wahoo? I only saw it for a split second.
Wow.
It was a good Wahoo.
That's big enough to shoot, that's for sure.
Okay. I was overgunned. I had my big gun today, but I'm glad I did. Because those Cuberas, they got some hard scales. Koa 130 wide body, cable slip tip, Moray slip tip. Incredibly awesome. If you need any kind of dive gear, that's where you gotta go. Florida free divers. Look at that snapper pile. They're like cookie cutters right there. That one looked a lot bigger, but I think they're about the same. Maybe a little bit bigger. Woo! What started off as just a little bit of a diving just to shoot my first fish of the year turned into a pretty cool day. Giant Cubera. I couldn't figure out what snapper, so we went for all three. Cubera, mangrove, and big mutton. And could have shot a red, but we're not allowed to shoot reds. But you didn't see the amberjack party. Well, you saw amberjacks being caught and released. And then Mark also got himself a gaggle tooth, gag grouper, Cubera snapper, mangrove snapper, big old mutton fish. I always say it every video I do with them. Look at that starburst tail. That's what I did not shoot. Mark got himself a nice gag. Go with those amberjacks. Caught a few mangroves. Ugh. Then shot a real mangrove. I mean, look at that thing. That's one I already showed it in the video, so we won't go too much with that. Big old mutton. Didn't show the mutton off yet. Look at that mutton. Gotta love that. And the Cuberas.
Now it's time for the ride in. The fish are chilled out, they went into an ice slush, drained the water, and they are packed good on ice, ready for the ride in. Now if you're new to the channel, thank you very much for watching, and if you're not new, thank you even more for the continued support over the years. We're just getting into summer, hopefully there'll be a lot of fishing, a lot of diving, all sorts of stuff. Again, thanks a lot, and I will see you in the next video.